Hello, and welcome to the Grouping and Mapping course, Chapter 1, Lesson 3. In this video, we're going to talk about the Environmental Impact Report. This is our information manager, Irene. She has been tasked with estimating the environmental impact of the construction project. Tracking the carbon costs during the design process will provide the best understanding and, more importantly, opportunities to reduce it. For this report, she wants to understand where most of the embodied carbon of the project resides. The embodied carbon is the carbon footprint of all the materials going into the project's construction. This includes the materials extraction, processing, transportation, and construction. There are so many different factors to consider, from fuel efficiency of transportation to the method of processing the materials. Many of these factors come from outside the design model. Early in the project, it's unrealistic to have all the information to calculate these numbers. It takes time to gather. Irene is intending to use this report to understand what parts of the project are most likely to have a lot of embodied carbon. These are the areas she can focus on first and will have the best opportunities to reduce. To quickly estimate these numbers, Irene is going to start by looking at the volume of material in the project. As more material is used, there is more material to be transported or processed. This leads to more embodied carbon. The more embodied carbon, the greater the environmental impact. The specific material tracked by this report is aggregate material. If you are unfamiliar with the term, to put it simply, it means materials created from stone or gravel. We typically see this as cement, concrete, or asphalt. So we can say that our data for this report is the volume of aggregate material in the model. Irene will take this data and visualize it using the iTwin platform. Showing it visually provides a more intuitive understanding of the data. Now, how are we going to visualize it? We will start with our design model, and then we will isolate the elements that represent aggregate material. Then we will colorize those elements. The colors will be defined by a gradient based on the volume. We can think of this like a volume heat map. So we can say that Irene's embodied carbon report will be a heat map visualizing the volume of aggregate material. Let's move over to the application and look at it live. In the bottom UI, we have a gradient legend. This shows the color that will be applied to the element based on their volume. Blue colors have less volume, starting with such a small amount. Green colors are in the middle, and red colors have the largest volume. By navigating around the model, we can see where most of the colors lie. While there is a lot of blue here, as we navigate down our roads, we see some instances of green. But we have this tunnel here, which is our one and only instance of red. We can see a high concentration of green and red around this tunnel. This gives us an idea of where the highest carbon impact will occur. This has less detailed information than our procurement report. While the procurement report was focused on specific details and objects, this one's only interested in gaining an intuitive understanding of the embodied carbon, not calculating it. This understanding will decide which areas require more of Irene's attention, allowing her to act more effectively. That concludes this chapter. We saw the benefits of grouping and mapping and how they save time for our engineers to act more effectively. Paul found the precise information he needed in order to order the doors and windows on time. Irene can easily see which areas of the malls deserve more scrutiny, allowing her to act quicker and more effectively. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how these reports were created so you can harness this power for yourself. I'll see you then.